Hi, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company and welcome back to our Maisemore Apiary sponsored series of videos for 2017. Today we're back in our isolation apiary where we already have one nucleus colony in one of the Maisemore Apiary's Commercial Poly Nucs, and today we're going to transfer one of our other collected swarms from earlier in the season from a wooden nucleus box into one of the Maisemore Apiary's poly commercial hives. So we've got that all ready. We've also made up some sugar syrup to feed them. That's a 1-to-1 sugar syrup. So we'll get the smoker lit and head over to the nuc, and then we can show you exactly what we've got. So as with any move, first job is to just give them a little bit of smoke, and then we're going to move the nuc complete off this stand and just move it to one side. Put a little stand with a roof on it here just to make it easier for us to show you, and we'll just clear away some of this debris and then we can get the Maisemore Poly Commercial Hive on this stand. I think I mentioned previously that the footprint of these hives is around 500 millimeters or 50 centimeters square. So the stands that I use are all predominantly designed for national and commercial hives, which are 465 millimeters. The hive comes, as I think I mentioned before, with the green strap, which is great for holding the roof down, especially when it's a bit windy. A brand new hive again, supplied by Maisemore Apiaries, and we're very grateful to them for that. This is the cover board, and we'll peel off the two sides of the protective material. We've got the feeder, and it has a little perspex cover in the middle, and the bees come up through the middle channel and over the sides to take the feed. The polystyrene on the side has got some little dimples in it that I've seen, which I think will help the bees to crawl up, but we normally put some lichen or hay in here just to help the bees clamber out of the syrup if they happen to drop in. So that's the feeder, the queen excluder, which we won't be using, and then we've got the frames, but we've actually got 12 frames in here, so we're going to take some of these frames out. And now we've got room in here for the frames from the nuc to go into. We'll take the bottom board out. We don't need the Varroa board in, and the floor has a Varroa screen in it, which is a really good strong screen, and it's screwed into place. So one of the good things about that is that we can take these screws out when we need to clean it, and we can clean the actual mesh with a blowtorch if we want to, and then just clean up the rest as we go with a proprietary cleaner. So the yellow entrance block will set to open, so the bees can get in and out. Make sure that's nice and square on the stand, and then we'll pop this brood box back on. And I always have my frames running the cold way. It's just the way that I was introduced to beekeeping, and I've seen no reason to change from that. So on with moving the nuc. We'll just take the roof off. We have been feeding them, so there's a little feeder on the top. Plenty of bees, and I would imagine that they'll be ready for some more sugar syrup because the summer forage is now ended. We're down to very much the last little bit of forage. We'll just knock the bees off the roof into the brood box, and then we can move the frames across one by one as we normally do, keeping them in the same order that they are currently held in the nuc. So here's the first frame, and we'll be looking for the queen, see if we can spot the queen on any of these frames. But as long as we empty all the bees out and we've got them all across into this new home for them, and we'll be fairly happy that she'll be on one of the frames. It's always nice to see her when you're transferring the frames across, because then you can knock the rest of the bees out of the nuc box knowing that she's safely at home. But this was a very small swarm that we collected right at the beginning of the season, and they were tiny. Seemed barely worth collecting, but they've grown into a really nice strong nuc with lots of bees, and now we should have enough time left for them to draw out more frames so that they can overwinter well. Nice brood pattern, lots of brood. The bees are fairly calm, which is good. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do think about hitting that subscribe button. It'd be great to have you along. We're at the end of our summer season, but we've got lots planned for the autumn and winter, and hopefully you'll join us for that. If you do hit the subscribe button, don't forget to hit the little bell symbol, and that will give you a notification that another video has been uploaded. We've also got our Facebook group, which is Stuart's Beekeeping Basics, and we've got lots of people there who are willing and able to help with advice for new beekeepers, and also some more advanced beekeepers who have a lot of experience and are willing to share their tips and techniques. So we've got the queen here. She's unmarked, so we'll see if we can mark her. I don't know whether we can see her on the camera. So we'll just get the marker pen and we'll get her marked.
Okay.
So here's the queen. I've got my marker pen ready, so I'm just going to lay the frame down, and then we'll see if we can just chase her back into the middle of the frame there. Pop my hive tool away. Keep my eyes on her. So all I do is pick her up by the wings and then hold her gently in my left hand. So we'll just get her moving away from me. She doesn't want to come this way. So once she's settled, pick her up gently but firmly by the wing, and then hold her until she calms down on my finger. Then I can put a dot on her and then release her back onto the comb. And then if I lift the frame up, you can see that she is far more visible now. One of the bees has just walked across her and dragged some of the paint away, but she will now be nicely marked, and we can move her into the new brood box, knowing that we've got her marked ready for next year. So we have one more frame to move. And the bees will soon get used to their new home, and they'll start fanning their Nasanov glands to indicate that this is their new home. I'm going to leave a little gap at this end so we can get them all safely into the brood box. And then in the nuc box we've got quite a lot of bees still. So if I hold this over the brood box, you can see just how many bees we've still got in the nuc box, and we don't want to just leave them in there. So this nuc box has a removable floor, so I'm just going to take the body off the floor, and then we'll just shake the bees onto the top bars. So again, holding it over across the angle of the brood body, I just shake the bees down, and that's all of the bees bar 1 or 2 out of the nuc box. Just move that box out of the way, and then we've got a few bees left on the floor which we can also tap off, and it's as simple as that. We've now got the bees in their new home. Just a few bees on this little feeder that we'll tap off, and now we can get the new feeder and here we run into the usual problem of bees on the top bars. There is a recess beneath the feeder, so we've got a bee space. It's approximately 6 or 7 mils deep, so that's enough for the bees to be able to move around on. And once we get them off the edges of the brood body, we can just lay it gently on and then wiggle it into position. Now we've got the sugar syrup to put in, and so I'm going to give them a reasonable amount of sugar syrup. This is 1:1 sugar syrup, and we'll put this in both chambers. And we'll give them plenty of food because they will use this very quickly. And it will also stimulate them into producing wax, and hopefully the queen will continue to lay strongly into the autumn, and that will give them a nice strong colony with which to overwinter. And then we'll just dribble some of the sugar syrup down over the bees so that they will detect where it's come from and come up into the feeder. And then just pop the cover slip back in place. And now we can pop the cover board on top of that. As before, this has the protective sheeting on, which I'd forgotten to peel off on some of the earlier ones that we had. So we'll leave the cover on the underside, and they're now set and ready to draw out the rest of those frames, and hopefully over the next 4 weeks or so they'll build up into a good strong base for them to overwinter with. So it just remains to put the queen excluder on top of that, purely because at the moment if I don't leave it with the colony I will forget. And then the roof, which has a particular way of going on, it's got a slight groove across the top, and that's where the strap goes, so it works best if you've got it running across the hive. And then it's got all the Maisemore Apiaries details imprinted on there as well. I will put all the details to this particular hive and to the Maisemore Apiaries website in the description below, so please do take a look at that. And if you do happen to have a conversation with them about these hives, then please mention that you did see it on my channel. And that's this colony all set in their new home. So that's another successful transfer of a nuc into a full-size hive. We've got plenty of time left for them to build that colony out now and pull all the frames and store plenty of syrup ready for their period over winter. My thanks to Jonathan and the team at Maisemore Apiaries for their help with producing these videos. Please do take a look at their website, and also while you're online, take a look at our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Norfolk Honey, and it's where you can help support us in producing more of these videos and also get some rewards for supporting us in return. We'll catch up with you next week, but for now, thanks for watching.